Hey, guess what? I'm doing this live video with tape on the back of my phone and it's pressed up to the wall. So funny. But anyways, I wanted to jump on and just share with you a little bit of insight on how you can start learning from the decisions that you're making, because sometimes we make decisions that are not positive for us. Sometimes we make negative decisions that are not going to help us move forward in our journey. And when this happens, we have to become very aware of what we're trying to learn or what we need to learn. Hey, everyone jumping on. It's not showing me who's on, but say hey. So a lot of times what happens is we make decisions that don't actually serve us, but it's because we're looking for fulfillment in some sort of area of our life or some sort of way in general. So something that you can start doing is when you recognize yourself making a decision that doesn't feel good after or doesn't feel good during, ask yourself, what is it that you're trying to fulfill? What is it that you're trying to achieve? Because and a really clear example of this that I've talked to some of my clients about, so if they're on, they'll recognize this, but it's like if you find yourself emotionally eating, ask yourself, what is the fulfillment that you are seeking, right? Because there's likely something that's lacking in your life that you're then trying to fill. You're filling a void. Same thing goes if you find yourself falling into addictive behavior patterns. A lot of times it means that you feel like you are lacking. A lot of times it's community, love, acceptance, things like that. So when you're making decisions or when you're going through life and you recognize there are things that you do that don't serve you or that don't feel good, it's important to pay attention to what the lesson is within that, because there's always going to be a lesson. And you can make amazing decisions all day, but until you actually recognize why you make the decisions that don't serve you, it's going to be very difficult to actually continuously and consistently make the positive decisions that move you forward, right? So let's say you do make amazing decisions and positive decisions that make you feel really good. Tap into that energy more often, and of course, guess what's going to happen? You're going to create more of it. But if you find yourself just making the positive decision, going, wow, that's great, whatever, moving on, and then you're making more negatives, well, again, this is just a reminder that your mind is built and it's actually, your brain is like structured in a way that is meant to protect you from negativity, protect you from things that could harm you and hurt you. So when something negative occurs or you make a negative decision, things like that, it's amplified, right? It's amplified in your mind because there's a lesson to be learned. And there's a reason why you shouldn't be making that decision, or there's a reason why that shouldn't be happening. So let's say you find yourself, hey, Julian, hey, Laura. Now I'm seeing you guys pop up. Hey, Dale. There's a few of you guys on here. But anyways, as you guys are going through this, as you guys are going through your life, pay attention to the positive decisions that make you feel good and why they make you feel good. Sometimes, hey, Chris, sometimes you'll find that the positive and negative decisions are both there to fill a void in your life or to fill certain things that you need fulfilled, but then you're unable to actually achieve them because you're either choosing negative or positive. Yes, Dale says identify the positive energy. Exactly. When you identify it and when you get in touch with it and when you align with it and when you're actually fully immersed in it, you're going to create more positive energy and thus more positive results in your life. It's a really beautiful thing. And then the same thing goes negative. Unfortunately, like I said, your brain will amplify the negativity, but it's a protection mechanism, and it's a beautiful one if you allow it to be. Some people will confuse this negative reaction, negative response that's stimulated by your brain as a means of going, well, you know what, it is this way, right? It is what it is, and everything in my life sucks, it's negative, it's this, it's that, and then guess what? You create more negativity. But what if you took the negative experiences that you have or negative situations and you learned from them and you asked yourself, what was the purpose? What was the rooted decision emotion? Like, what was the emotional decision rooted in? There it is. That's what I was trying to say. So where did that decision come from? What was I trying to fulfill? What was I trying to experience that I wasn't in another area of my life? How can I make that same experience? How can I fill that same void with something that furthers my growth, that furthers my journey, that furthers my fulfillment in life? Yes, truth, Bob. Julian's like, alignment. True. So, by the way, I'm really looking forward to our call. So, yeah, it's really important to get in touch when you're making decisions with, 1, how it makes you feel, 2, is it positive or negative, 3, is it furthering your journey, or is it something that's just filling a void, 4, if it is filling a void, what void is it filling, and what, I keep saying feeling instead of filling. What void is it filling? And how can you then take that emotion and find that fulfillment in other areas of your life? For example, sometimes people go, and this is just going to be one of those, crazy examples that, you see on TV all the time or in movies where it's like the girl gets heartbroken or the guy. She turns to a tub of ice cream and she's eating it emotionally because that will make her feel better. Really? No, it won't. Maybe for a moment, maybe for a minute. It's not something that's going to fulfill you in the long term, right? It's not serving your goals in the long term. But what if she got heartbroken and she asked herself, okay, what do I feel right now? And she got really in touch with that feeling and she went, you know what, I feel like I'm lacking some strength. I feel like I'm lacking some confidence or some love. Like I really need some love. So maybe that means she does yoga. Maybe that means she lights a candle and meditates. Maybe that means that she goes for a run. Maybe that means she goes to the gym. Maybe that means she takes a nap, right? So that way, it's not a matter of filling the void negatively or in a way that doesn't feel good in the long term. Instead, it's a matter of going, oh my God, I know what I'm lacking, and I know what's in life that I love that will fulfill that void, right? When you know what it is that you love and what fulfills certain emotions, like you know what makes you feel loved, you know what makes you feel energetic, you know what makes you feel happy. So when you feel unhappy, when you feel like you have low energy, when you feel anxious, when you feel stressed, of course, do the things that make you feel the opposite emotion. Not to avoid that you're feeling that way, but instead to recognize that the void must be filled, right? You don't want to fill it up because now there's space, right? There's space there in your life. There's space in your emotion. There's space in your mind. Some sort of space has been created and you have two options, fill it with negativity or fill it with positivity. But you half and half is not a good decision because guess what? Negativity is amplified. So even if you might think you're filling it with some positives, likelihood is there's going to be a lot of negative energy stored and multiplied and built up. Why? Protection, learning. It's a process. It's literally this circle that'll go round and round and round. It's up to you to actually either reverse it in the way of like going through each one instead of writing and not doing anything, actually going, what's this mean? What's that mean? What does this mean? Positivity. Yes, I love it. You guys' comments make me so happy. See, like for me, like this is a fulfilling experience. I love showing up. I love sharing my message. I love sharing my mission. Yeah, fill it with positivity. If you have a void, always fill it with positivity. You always have an option. There is something there. Even if the void was created from a negative experience, trauma, situation, words said, things you might have done, decisions you made, guess what? It's totally fine. It doesn't mean you can't turn it around. It just means that you have this opportunity to fill it with something else because I also know a lot of times people go, I don't even know what I love. I don't even know what I enjoy. Awesome way to figure it out is try new things, do new things, experience new things. And if you don't like it, you don't need to do it again. Or if you don't like it, you can quit. It's okay. Like you're allowed to follow what your soul actually loves and what your soul actually needs and what your soul actually feels fulfillment from, because the space that you live in, this body, you want to fill it with positivity. You want to fill it with good energy. You want to fill it with amazing things that, empower you and serve you and move you forward in your journey. And if you don't, then it's really unfortunate because then you feel like you're stuck in this trench of negative energy when in reality, it's literally like you just brush a little bit of the dust off and you're good. The sun is shining. So I am really curious about what it is that you guys love to do. I'm really curious about what it is that you guys do. If you notice yourself falling into negative patterns, I know a lot of times people will emotionally eat or they will eat mindlessly when these things come up. But the key thing is looking inside and going, what's the void? What's missing? What am I trying to fill? What am I trying to replace? And when you know that, it becomes very clear the different ways you can go about it. So what do you love to do? What fills you up? What makes you happy? What are the things that you do when you want to relax? What are the things that you do when you want to feel happy? What are the things you want to do when you want to energize? Because when you recognize those positive emotion generators, you can then recognize the things, they are the same things, that get you out of the negative emotion. So with that being said, I'm really excited to hear what your guys' answers are to those questions. I'm glad you think they're great questions. I love, love, love reading your guys' answers because it can spark so much creativity in each other. It can spark so much conversation conversation, it can just really create momentum for people in life. And I know there's people who watch the videos and who don't take action, but they really benefit from it, especially when they see your guys' info. And Dale says, first step is to realize I'm overeating. Yep, absolutely. When you realize it, when you realize why, what void are you filling, Dale? Ask yourself that question. What is it that you feel like you're lacking in your life that has to be fulfilled by that decision? Okay? So get really clear on this stuff, you guys. Don't just treat this like another thing that you just watch and then you're like, no, that's cool, good job, like I liked that video. Actually ask yourself the questions, actually do the work, and actually allow yourself to be free in your life and in your body and move through this with ease. You don't have to move through this with like that, right? It's supposed to just be open, floodgates, right? Let it out, let it go, because that's the easiest way to go about it. Easy results don't come from hard decisions, right? I mean, you're going to have to make some decisions, you're going to have to get clear, and sometimes you might feel like there's blocks and limits and stuff, but that's when you ask someone for help. That's when you get a coach. That's when you create a movement in your life. That's when you make a different decision. Hey, Nathan, how are you? Yeah, Dale, exactly. Pause to see what you're feeling. So, you guys, do this work, go in. If it feels like it's right for you, if you're like, yeah, this makes sense to me, then do it, right? Your body's telling you something, your soul is telling you something. And I keep looking this way because it's just like beautiful outside today. But anyways, I am really excited for you guys who do take action on this. And I love that there's so many of you who jumped on and interacted with me. You guys are awesome. I love having an interactive audience. So shout out to you guys. You guys actually fire me up, which I think allows me to produce even more for you. And then I want to say thank you to those of you who watch the replay. I absolutely always read your guys' comments and I love to hear from you. I've gotten some really cool messages lately and I'm just sending you guys so much love. And with that being said, I hope you have an amazing day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world. Just make it awesome.